What's good, YouTube? menaofsteel here, and at the time of this recording, we're less than 24 hours away from the release of Fantastical Parade. And this time around, we actually got leaks before the set even came out, so we're gonna be able to do a tier list. My favorite type of tier list, where I basically don't know the majority of the set, if not a good like 80% of the set. I have not read, especially the non-EX cards, except for like this Ladybug that you see right here. Like in setting up the video, we clearly see the Ladybug. But realistically, when they first announced the trailer, where we saw that the set was only going to consist of one pack, being the Gardevoir like cover, I was unaware of like what to expect, in the sense of like, is it going to be like a mini set, although it's the base set, like it was just 80 cards. But it ended up being that we have 155 cards to go over, so I don't want to gap too much. My tier lists are always broken down between broken, meta, good, mid, bad, and then fluff. Fluff is all those cards that like, we have 155 cards, did we really need this? That's where that will land. But as far as everything else, it kind of defines itself, but I want to keep it sort of flexible, because sometimes it depends on like the power level of the set as a whole. But as we go on, it'll make more sense as to where my opinions lie. And as for all these cards being in one set, it's good in the sense that we only have to commit to opening one pack. But I don't know how I feel about like every single card being stuck. Like, how many, like, I don't know, Gardevoir EXs are we gonna pull before we're like, can I get like one Mawile, please? Like, that's what ends up happening when you have so many cards in just one opening, like one instance of being able to get it. But nonetheless, let's get right into the breakdown. We got a lot to go over, and let's start here with Ladybug. Ladybug is your example basic Pokemon, 60 HP, doesn't do too much damage, but we don't really care for it. What we're going to be judging is what they evolve into, which in this case is Ledian. Ledian for 1 energy swift. We saw this one on the trailer, 40 energy and this 40 damage, and this attack isn't affected by weakness. Is essentially like a Hitmonchan EX. That's like the wording, but realistically this card is probably bad. Like, I wouldn't by bad I mean like, this is not gonna see any play. You're not gonna see anybody make a YouTube video on this guy. Like, it's just, if anything, it probably is just mid, but we'll leave it there. Then we have Shuckle for 2 energy, guard press 40. This damage then during your opponent's next turn. So you know, it's like a Mega Steel basically. I'm just kidding. This also falls under bad. Like, these are cards that you will never see play. At least they shouldn't see play, right? We have Roselia 60. Trip over 10 plus, flip a coin. If heads, it does 10 more. Again, this is just the basic Pokemon, so let me not judge it, because it does in fact evolve into Roserade, which is 90 HP, 2 energy, poison ring, 50. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon can't retreat. Interesting. You see, that starts falling towards like mid. I feel like if it was released, maybe, actually not even maybe, for sure, if it was released during like space time, not space time, my bad, Genetic Apex, when you had corner with Arbok. Imagine if Arbok by itself cornered and poisoned at the same time. Like, that would be, it'll probably be meta to some extent, right? Like, if you're going, I guess not really, because like what the meta was, well, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, it would have been so much better at a different time period. In this current landscape of things, not really good. You also have like Greninja EX that gets to move things around, Celesteela like type effects, Lyra, although it doesn't see as much play. But yeah, it would have been a lot better in a different time, right? Then we have Cacnea, 2 energy corkscrew, just a basic, so let's recap turn. 3 energy, spike rend, 60 plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon has damage on it, this attack does 60 more. I think that this is one of those cards that suffers from quick growth. I feel like the fact that quick growth exists makes it where they couldn't make this too strong, because I don't know, it's, again, probably, it could probably just be bad, but we'll go with mid. Chespin, just a basic that evolves into this, which again, this is not a good example of like a stage 1 that would make, it's not like a Charmeleon, right? That's what I was kind of like hoping or expecting from stage 1s moving forward, but they can't all be bangers. 4 energy, you see this, like, I was afraid that quick growth would make it where they would lower the power of a lot of these like generic grass Pokemon. 4 energy 80 is ridiculous. Like you're not ramping, like, only, it's not like you could Ivysaur this, right? So during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, do 80 damage to the attacking Pokemon. This is low-key mid. Like, all of these could essentially, besides the Roserade, actually I'm gonna be ruthless with it. We got 155 cards to go. Mid is probably gonna have a lot more respectable cards. These are just bad cards. Like, you're not gonna see any play with these guys. Scatterbug, just a basic. It is searchable with Licia, something to keep in mind. I don't even know how to pronounce that, to be honest. Spewpa, maybe? I don't know. Signs of Evolution, put a random card that evolves from Spewpa from your deck into your hand. I guess it depends. Like, that's a good effect, I guess. Not something that I would rank specifically, but then it evolves into Vivillon. Vivid Power, 60. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned or asleep. I mean, is now poisoned and asleep. So that's like a mini Ivysaur, right? I mean, Venusaur. It's searchable with its own Second form, you can search it with that. It only 2 energy, so you could just play Candy as well. I feel like that's a decent. Yes, if in a format where everybody's on Ogerpon, this obviously just falls down the hill. Like low-key, it might be mid. We'll see as we go on, but so far it's definitely the best card I've read. We have Buzzful, a non-EX Buzzful. So shout out to Ultra Beast getting some support here. 2 energy ground beat, 40 plus. If your opponent has gotten exactly 1 point, this attack does 40 more damage. So if they get a knockout, so technically it's an Ori out to the Buzzful deck. Not that I don't think that's their main concern. It's probably mid. Like technically, you're thinking like once you're able to use Lusamine, you're also able to use this for 80. Does it move the needle for Buzzful decks? I don't think so. Then we got Gossifleur, Razor Leaf. I'm pretty sure this evolves into something. Sorry, I'm not too in tune with these Pokemon start, especially once you start. I know there's a lot of I think like Sword and Shield Pokemon in this set. You start losing me in terms of like knowledge, right? You may shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck. The May part, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or whatever. The Purloin, or not the Purloin, whatever it evolves into, it had to go into the deck, right? If you attacked with it, it wasn't a May. The fact that this is May is interesting that they gave it to a different color. So like Darkness has it, now Grass has it, but this one May shuffle. Correct me if I'm wrong. If that not even Lipard, I think this is called. Lipard doesn't give you the option. I think it automatically goes. But yeah, let's rate that in I guess like I feel bad at this point calling these mid. Like low key, there's probably a line between good and mid that would be just like interesting. Like that's where I would put that. That's where I would put all of these, like the everything but the Buzzwole. The Buzzwole I would put in mid, and then there would be like a separate. You know what? Let me do that right now. Update it in real time. Granted, I probably skipped it in editing. We added as for like interesting. It's at that fine line between like a decent, like something that could be good. And let's jump to then our first EX, I believe. Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. Each of your Pokemon that has an energy attached recovers from all special conditions that can't be affected. So basically, similar to Confe, that before if that Pokemon had a psychic energy, it's all clear. Now it's any energy, but it is on an EX. And then its attack is 2 energy, 2 grass, energized, leaves 60 plus. If the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon is 5 or more, this attack is 60 more. That part is probably less relevant. What definitely makes it playable is its ability. I think it's gonna be good. Hard for me to say meta, mainly because if you start with, let's say your deck is using it as a generic, like let's say like how decks would use Indeedee. This in the lead is essentially just as bad as the Indeedee, the same HP, same points, but its effect isn't as not relevant, as universal, I guess, in the sense of like not every deck is gonna hit you with special conditions. So in the decks, like if you start Indeedee and back like in the hit it, you could heal up, go in the back, it's no longer like Cyrusable, and for the rest of the game it's healing whatever you have in the active. In the case of Ogerpon, it could be in the active, gets hit, once you back it out, they could bring it back out whenever, and it's just not up there with Indeedee. Like it's like one step below Indeedee, if not like 2. Like Indeedee is definitely the much better card, which is what has me a little iffy about Ogerpon. But that's all for the grass Pokemon in this set. For the fire Pokemon, we start with Alolan Marowak, 2 fire energy, fiery bone, 40 damage for your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. One thing is that you could use Kiawe with this. The other thing is that realistically you have like Cubone, you give it like I don't know when you'll be using Kiawe on this, like if it would ever make sense. But as a card itself, low-key this is like pretty mid, right? Like this is low-key bad as well. I'll go with mid for the sake of the low-key is it's somewhere between mid bad and like it's like all of the I'm wasting too much time on a card that literally doesn't matter. We'll leave it at mid. If it gets too overpacked, and if mid gets overpacked, we'll just put that guy in bad. Reshiram, hyped about Reshiram being in the game. Not hyped about it not being EX or being like a cover card or anything, but maybe we'll get that in the future. 3 energy, blue flare. Once upon a time, this would have been great. Right now, it seems bad to... Actually, it's just Fluff, I think. I think this is the first case of Fluff. We've seen so many cards that do that with 3 energy, do 100 or something, or 100 plus damage. Discarding 2 fire energy, not having... Like, you have to play Flame Patch at this point, like, on a Reshiram. Like, not sure how I feel about that. I guess... Yeah, no. Fluff. You know what? I'm gonna regret that because like, you're gonna see somebody playing like Charizard being like, oh, but I could evolve Charmeleon, like I could out Oricorio by playing this card. I guess that alone, it just feels fun. There's so many cards that do what this could do. Basically, I feel that's where I feel. Can it see play because it's fire specifically? Maybe, in which case that would put it under mid. But realistically, there's just so many cards that do exactly that. So I'm gonna leave it there. Litleo evolves into Pyroar. Pyroar is that's the definition of fluff. Like how many like Rapidash style? Like this is the worst Rapidash because yes, it does 70, but it needs 2 energy. Like, are we really playing this? No. Oricorio. This is an interesting card. This is definitely falls for me under possibly in good. Also, I think I'm gonna put this one also in like. The reason I would want to drop the butterflies, like I think Ogerpon is definitely, you know, I'll put Ogerpon in meta. Although it is a tier, like if it was being compared to Indeedee directly, it would go under. But it does feel like something that'll be in the meta. That's how I'll justify that because it's definitely better than these cards, right? But Oricorio, during your next turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 20+ damage to your opponent's active. So it's like almost like a delayed red. Like you do your little 10 damage attack for 1 energy, and then you have like that red coming up the following turn. Obviously not as good when your opponent doesn't have to, well, they're able to play around it because they know the 20 damage is coming. So that's what puts it, I'm gonna put it in like, it's like interesting. Like I could see this seeing play, but I could also see it being just another card in the bin. Now we have Blacephalon EX. Shout out to, it is Ultra Beast, so you could use Lusamine. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned for 1 energy. It is the basic, by the way, so like if you're going to, you just burn it. Shout out to Ogerpon. Ogerpon is getting more and more value with the more cards that I read in this set that are just doing status conditions. But then for 3 energy, Pop Punk, discard 3 energy from this, does 140. Best part about it is that it doesn't do damage to itself. That's something that the original Blacephalon that non-EX was would deal with. Despite discarding, it also like does self-harm. But nonetheless, it is just a Lusamine away from giving an energy, then Lusamine going back up to 3. So this card seems good. I don't meta, it depends on the ranges. The fact that it is 140 might be a little low, but at the same time, we've seen a lot of cards that I just don't know if it'll be meta is my concern. Too dependent on Lusamine, and then if you're leading with this, you're not really getting Lusamine. I guess the backup gets Lusamine, but then this one already got, I don't know, it's a weird spot to be in, right? We'll see how it goes. And then we have Scorbunny. Maybe this just becomes like you replace in Savali decks. You know how like Savali Blacephalon decks that existed. Maybe you just replace the Blacephalon with this and it's good enough. Again, time will tell. We got Scorbunny that evolves into Reboot, that evolves into Cinderace, which we saw that it was going to be a promo. Now we know exactly what it does. It does have free retreat cost, which is great because during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. The fact that it has a free retreat cost makes it a lot more like easier to stomach, I guess. But as far as is it good? It's a stage 2. Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be great in like solo battles. We'll see if I end up using it in one of those videos, but somewhere between and mid. Honestly, it hits hard enough. I'll put it in. It's definitely not in the same level as this Blacephalon, and maybe the Vivillon might not be either. But and then the last fire Pokemon we have is Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon, which is for 2 energy. Hearthflame Dance 40. Flip a coin. If heads, take 2 fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. Interesting. This is definitely under. If not, I think I'm gonna put it under good. Because let's say you're playing. Oh, would you justify playing Will in something like this to guarantee the ramp? That's where it'll go here. I got It's not like me questioning. It literally just means interesting. I just put because it fits in the little space that we're given to title these things. But definitely, it's like. It's somewhere between, like, it could be really good, or, like, literally, if it pets, it's good to meta, and if it flips tails, it's like, just bad, so, like, kind of crazy to think about it like that. But that's it for the fire Pokemon in the set. For water, we start with Alolan Vulpix, just a basic that evolves into Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales says, for 2 energy, Binding Snow, 80 damage, pretty decent, 150 HP. During your opponent's next turn, they can't take any energy from their energy zone and attach to their active. This is minimum good. Like, you think people that were able to finesse with Banette, like, imagine now it comes in the form of an Alolan, like, I mean, not an Alolan, an EX, and it's doing 80 and it's harder to take out. It's also a stage 1. 2 energy, getting the 2 energy is not going to be too much of an issue, I don't think. And, like, low-key could fall under meta. I'll see depending on, like, where the rest of the set falls, but it's minimum, it's going to be good. We might revisit my ranking on that. Galarian Mr. Mime is just a basic that evolves into Galarian Mr. Rhyme. Triple water, triple spin, 60 times, flip a coins. It says 60 for each heads. This is one of those that just feels like fluff. I feel like we've seen so many of these type of like coin flip cards. Like, why are we doing this for Mr. Rhyme? I don't know. Onwards. Deadly Bird, two colorless, box of surprises, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 70 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. If tails, the heal 30. I like the flavor of the attack, the fact that it's basically present. It is present from like the video games, but this card's just bad. Like, you're never playing this. Yeah, it's like it either outs Ori or yeah, no. Mudkip, my favorite Hoenn starter. Glad that's in the game. We got evolves into Marshtomp, evolves into Swampert. We do have a Mega one coming up, but the non-EX evolution is 3 energy, large Whirlpool, 100 damage. Discard a random energy from among the energy attached to all Pokemon. That includes so it's basically like the Mega, not the Mega, the Gyarados from Mythical Island. And I think so this is like, I don't know, basically kind of is it mid? 3 energy, 100. A lot of Pokemon are doing that, and then discard a random. That could be good, could be bad. If you hit yourself, it kind of sucks. I think it lands somewhere in that middle ground. I guess you would play it in Swampert decks to out Ori. That's like a way he's playing it. So like it could be decent, but it's definitely not at the level of these. Like so yeah, we'll leave it there. And then we have Mega Swampert. 230 HP, 3 energy, just all the same. Does 150 instead of 100. Discard 2 random energies from among. So this card. Its ceiling is so insane, but man, if it just discards 2 energy from itself, like what? Like that's gonna feel so terrible. Also, lightning weakness when it's part ground. Like what are we doing here? But I'm aware that Pocket works different. Like the card game itself works differently. I think it's hard to say this card's good because half the time it's gonna be amazing. Not half the time. Let's say a quarter of the time it's gonna be amazing. Then half the time, that's not even like a fifth of the time is gonna be amazing. Another fifth of the time is gonna be like, hey. Then it'll be like one time we'll do like 1 and 1. I don't even know what the math is, but sometimes really good, sometimes really bad, sometimes it's gonna be like whatever. But the really bad could definitely cost you the whole game, and I don't know if you're gonna risk that on a Pokemon that could cost you the whole game once it drops. So it's hard. It's hard. I wish I could confidently say it's going to be better because it's one of my favorite Pokemon. Although I didn't really play with it as a Mega, but that's nor here nor there. Then we have Vanillish into Vanillux, Sweet Relay. So I think this is the first time Vanillux itself is a Sweet Relay. I think we've gotten Sweet Relay versions of the weaker versions. I could be wrong about that, but it is a Water Sweet Relay support here. It does go against the Shet's. Like the Cherubi build, I think, because you kind of need grass energy if you don't find a tool with that guy. But it does be like the Irida version of it, where you could heal, although like how much healing are you actually gonna do in that deck? I think it's gonna be mid because I don't think that's the support Sweet Relay really needed, if that makes sense. Cryogon, I'm gonna have to ask my boy Anissa about what he thinks about that. We got 1 energy Frozen Lock on Cryogon. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that guy. During your opponent's next turn, they can't play any item cards from their hand. Okay, so we have another item lock. Apart from... Oh, okay. This obviously... I wasn't expecting that, I guess. It's good. Like, we see what Channeling does. It's obviously not, like, meta or broken because it's exclusively to water and requires an energy. But, let's be honest. Item lock is item lock. Then we have Amara, the new fossil... one of the new fossil Pokemon that we have access to. Evolves into Auroras, 3 energy, Hail Prison, 90. Discard 2 water energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. I kind of hate how many Pokemon I'm putting in this spot, but like discarding 2 energy from itself is a part where I'm like, yeah, nah, that's what's gonna put it down for me. Yes, paralyzation is one of the strongest conditions in the game. 90 damage is like flirting with a good advantage. Needing 3 energy is tough, and then discarding 2 water energies is even tougher. So low key, it's like borderline. It'd be like a borderline between interesting and mid, but ultimately mid for me. Shoot up 3 energy. That's horrendous already. I don't even know what this next guy's gonna do, but 4 energy. We're gonna go with bad. Low key is probably just Fluff. Yeah, I'm gonna throw you in Fluff. Why are you printed? Then we have Cramorant. Spit out shot. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So basically, okay, it was like, it's not random, right? Like, you get to choose. But, so, you give a Hitmonlee, an Absol, what other, I guess a Jirachi, but more importantly, or better, more accurately, it's a Hitmonlee for water Pokemon, which is gonna be good. There's gonna be formats where it's gonna be better than others. Yes, this exact set has it out where it makes this less powerful, but giving it to any color eventually will come up is how I feel about cards like this in general. Heatmore, but how did I forget that? But Arrokuda, again a basic that evolves into Barraskewda, which is just, this is Fluff. This is the peak, like the basically if you look up Fluff, Pokemon Pocket Fluff in the dictionary, this is what shows up. It's like just a genetic Apex Rapidash reprinted a year and some later. Like why? Like why are they making cards like this? It doesn't help the new player. It doesn't help the solo battle. Like it serves legitimately no purpose. But nonetheless, the last water Pokemon we have before I go on a tangent on that is Wellspring Mask Ogerpon, which is 2 energy, Wellspring Dance 40, flip a coin if has this attack also does 40 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This one has to be mid probably. Like yes, flipping heads is being able to do 80 damage on a coin flip is decent. But it doesn't have the upside of like ramping certain Pokemon. I'm gonna put it in mid. It's alright. It's not bad. I like the creativity now that I guess the Ogerpons are gonna, the non-EX ones have this coin flip, which is they do 40 damage, and then if has they do this additional effect. Currently, the fire one's definitely better than the water in my personal opinion. But that's it for water Pokemon. For lightning, we start with Pikachu. Pikachu has 1 energy Thunder Jolt 30. This attack also does 10 damage to itself. The fact that it could, similar to Magnemite, that is able to hit 30, that knocks out baby Pokemon. Like, this is decent. This probably is somewhere like up there, but nonetheless, we go into an Alolan Raichu, non-EX or nothing. Surge Surfer. If a stadium is in play, this is the first time we see this set is introducing stadiums, which we will read. Eventually, we'll get to them. But this is the first effect that we see, ability or attack otherwise, that actually interacts with them. Let's see what it says. If a stadium is in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. That's something like, obviously, like it's interesting because there's like the psychic energy or whatever. 2 energy Thunder Spear. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. As a standalone card, this card is definitely just mid, like mid to unplayable Fluff. But the fact that it has that ability shows that there's something they're willing to play with, and there's definitely gonna be a card in the future, if not later in the set, that we'll go over where we're like, wow, that's strong. But nonetheless, we go on to the Zapdos. 3 energy Heavy Thunder. One other Pokemon, either you or your opponent's chosen at random, one time, do 100 to that. No, I'd rather not. No, thank you. I love the artwork on it though. I'm gonna be 100 with you on that one. Plusle, flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon's not paralyzed. We've seen this card before. Literally, the Dene was printed doing this, and there's, I can't off the top of my head remember, but there's definitely a Lightning Pokemon that got printed with the exact same effect. Oh, the basic form of the Heliolisk does this exactly as well. Definition of Fluff. Not bad. It's what it does is decent. Paralyze is really good. The fact that I'm surprised it doesn't have an effect that goes with mine. Oh look, here we have Buddy Spark 30. If Plusle's on your bench, this attack also does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now this is an effect. Now this is a card. I assumed both of them was gonna have some kind of like effect where they bounce off each other, but apparently it's only mining. In which case, the mining is definitely interesting. I like that. The fact that standalone, knocking out baby Pokemon, gets rid of Chainlink, gets rid of Swablues. But with the additional effect of mining, but would you play mining? Probably not. So low key, he starts falling under mid. It's not even searchable with like Listy or something. The only thing about it gets worse because what's dragging it down. Actually, I'll leave it in. It's just mid, bro. It's just mid. I want it to be better. It's just how non-effective the Plusle is. Like what was that about? Then we got Toxel that evolves into Toxicity EX. Toxicity EX. My bad. 3 energy, damaging Spark 90 for just 3 energy. The next additional effect must be insane. This attack also does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it. What in the world? Like what are they expecting me to use mine and Plusle into this? This has to be. It's just mid, bro. As much as I like the artwork on Toxicity, it's one of my favorite Pokemon from that generation because I didn't play too much into it, so a lot of my opinion comes just from like how they look, but not necessarily how good they are. Let's be honest. Like if you're gonna put 3 energy, Lantern probably has more life. It's not it. Then we got Tadbulb, which is just take lightning energy from your energy and attach it to this Pokemon. I guess it depends on how much Belly Bolt needs. Okay, so it's really, this feels like Fluff. Like picture there. That's actually it for lightning Pokemon. So not only is there that very little, none of them, in my opinion, are gonna be very. Yeah, none of them stood out as something that I would actually play. Unfortunately, shout out to mine being the most interesting one, I guess. But let's jump right into Psychic, which starts with Galarian Ponyta. Galarian Ponyta just evolves into our Galarian Rapidash 100. If you have 5 or more Psychic Energy in play, this deck does 60 more. So technically, if you have Gardevoir, use it. You could then go into this as an out to Ori. That's what makes it playable. This is what that's what's gonna make it for me. It's gonna go to is it gonna be the option you choose to out or Corios in your Gardevoir deck? Because realistically, it is the definition of fluff when it is exactly the Rapid. It is the example that I use. This is Rapidash from Genetic Apex, and they just gave it. They made it a unicorn and said like, trust me, now you're gonna use it. Which we might actually, because the fact that although that would require us to go Mega Gardevoir swing for a turn to then set it up so that it could then swing and take out an Oricorio. Not sure how relevant that'll be, but the fact that that is an existing option is what keeps me from just under mid. Then we have Wobbuffet, 3 energy, flip over, 80 damage. This attack also does 10 to itself. That doesn't even make, like, flavor wise, like what, since when is Wobbuffet even doing this? We'll go with bad. Snubbull evolves into Gramble. That's fluff if I've ever seen it. Now this is what I'm excited for. What do the Gardevoir line do? And we got Routes, Confuse Ray, your opponent's active Pokemon is not confused. I was kind of hoping that the route they gave us was searchable with Licia. Clearly not. It's 60 HP, which is what makes me upset. And not upset, but like they really needed a 50 HP one. But nonetheless, we have Kirlia, Psybeam. Your opponent's active is not confused, so you're confusing no matter what, I guess. And then we have Gardevoir, non-EX, non-Mega, non-anything, 130 HP, 2 energy, Psy Turbo, 60 damage. Take 2 energy from your energy zone, attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. That's definitely, it seems like a good card in my opinion. And like standard, like if we didn't know Mega Gardevoir existed, this is like a valid card. Does 60 damage and ramps. Is it closer to interesting? Probably. Yeah. That's the more I think about it, is like the fact that you have to find it, and then all it's doing is ramping. When there's baby Pokemon that ramp, when there's better options. But I guess it's definitely an interesting card. I want to say. Would you consider the original better? I guess is what it comes down to. Being able to charge from the bench, just one without having to attack, without having to be in that. It's probably mid. The more you think about it, I would like if I was gonna play this, I'd probably be playing the other one, the GA one. And then we have Mega Gardevoir. This is going to be... I am not too high on this card, I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is going to be meta-defining. It's going to have some good decks, yes. Can I be proven wrong? 100%. I don't think that by fact, this card is going to be useless. No, obviously the card is really good, but just doing 110 and means it's going to be... The fact that it ramps means that it's most likely, more often than not, going to be your main attacker. So you have it out in the front line, which puts it in range, like, not in range, at risk of getting smacked around, like... That doesn't seem like a sound strategy to me. Like, it's not your finisher. EXs are best when they're either your finisher or they're meant to get the job done. Like, right, like your Absols, your Altarias, Blaziken is sent out there just to close it out. Like, it's not there to set up something in that, like, I don't know how I feel about that. That's where I would put it, like, under good. But the fact that it ramps is gonna open up possibilities to decks that we're not even thinking about right now. Like maybe some Nana stuff. Charging up God knows what, like we haven't gotten there. Reuniclus being like infinite HP or something. I generally don't know. The fact that it has to be in the active spot is what makes me weary of its potential. But the fact that it's Gardevoir and it makes me think like even if it's somewhat okay at best, people are gonna make it part of the meta. You're gonna have to deal with it. You're gonna have to respect it because of it. Jolteon, by the way, completely has this card for breakfast. But nonetheless, let's move on to Litwick, which it's 50 HP, so it's searchable. With Licia, evolves into Lampent, and it evolves into Chandelure. 2 Psychic Energy, Past Friends, 60 plus. This attack does 20 damage, 20 more damage for each supporter card in your discard pile. Wow. Let's say you turn 1, you go research, and you do this. You're at 100. This card is definitely like it has to be minimum interesting. I'm gonna put it there for now. I don't think it's in the same range as these other cards. That's why I can't put it in good, but it's definitely better than these, like what I would consider mid, right? We'll see. Obviously not perfect, but definitely interesting. Like it's not something they've done before, which is what I love. Being creative and different with the card design. Meloetta, This one at the beginning of your turn, if this card is in the active spot, put a random psychic Pokemon from your deck to your hand. Is this card not competes directly, I think, in my opinion, with what's his name, Clef. I do think they each have their pros and cons. Like Cleffa clearly doesn't require energy, doesn't have a retreat cost, but it is only 30 HP, and it adds at the end of the turn. Meloetta searches at the beginning, allowing you to adapt your turn or modify your turn based on what you drew. What you draw off of Meloetta, you could actually like use it or manipulate it in some way where you're not completely susceptible to a copycat, like feeding your opponent's copycat or getting red carded, and then what you added doesn't matter, which is something that Cleffa goes into. So I'll consider this card good. As far as meta, like Cleffa's not in every deck. If you think Cleffa's meta, you probably think this is meta. I personally think just both of them are decent, so we'll leave them in good. Then we have Pumpkaboo, which evolves into Gourgeist. 1 energy soul shot, 70, discard a card from your hand. If you can't, this attack does nothing. So like a stable life for 1 less energy, but it's a stage 1. That's probably mid. It's okay because it's still an answer to Oricorio in decks that need it, but tough. And then we got Mimikyu. Disguise when this Pokemon, we saw this in the trailer, when this Pokemon's first damage by an attack after coming into play, prevent that damage. So it's definitely tanks, but it is energy. I have to say it's interesting. It's hard to say that it's good, because let's say if you lead with it at the very beginning of the game, they just tap it with anything. Like even like a Chingling, you can't use energies, and then its main draw no longer is the thing. It's only 120 HP. It's not the craziest, healthiest thing. It's tough. I would love to be proven wrong with some of these, but I don't think it's bad. Low key, it falls in their mid, but I'll say interesting because it does open up some like strategies where like if you hold on to it and then you put it in the active, it kind of buys you a turn, or it can buy you a turn. We'll see how it ends up doing. You got Sinistea, high, flip a coin, and evolves into Poltergeist or Poltegeist. Refreshing Tea. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may have your opponent shuffle their hand into their deck. For each remaining point that your opponent needs to win, they draw a card. So yes, I don't know why they worded it so like clunky, but it's essentially a Mars. That's what I'm reading, which is all in all, it has to be good. What makes it not meta is the fact that it's a stage 1, the fact that it takes up space if it's in your active spot. It's kind of weird. If we go back to the Sinistea, it is searchable with Listia, but yeah, I'll go with good. It definitely might just fall under the interesting pile, but having a Mars on legs that doesn't cost your, it's literally a Mars, so it's better than red card, and it's not your supporter for the turn. So like it's interesting what people might be able to do with that. And then the last card we have under Psychic is Indeedee. 3 energy Zen Shard. This attack does 70 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. This is god awful, right? Like technically you would play it with Gardevoir. I guess that's what makes it. I guess no, it's 3 energy. The only deck that could potentially use this in a way where it doesn't completely feel terrible would be Gardevoir. And is this really the backup that you're trying to set up? Like I don't know. But that's it for Psychic Pokemon. For fighting Pokemon, we start with Sandshrew. That evolves into Sand Slash. 1 energy, Furry swipes 30, flip 30 coins. This head does 30 for each heads. Mr. Rhyme is in the Fluff pile, so is this guy. Machop. Discard a stadium. Okay, I was about to skip over this. This is interesting. This is interesting because we don't know how relevant stadium is going to be. But it definitely, if stadiums become more viable, cards like this are going to be seeing more play. If stadiums aren't, then it doesn't. But just the ability, the fact that this exists is interesting. So it says for 1 energy, colorless, so it could be played in any deck. Shatter, 10 damage, discard a stadium and play. Interesting, to say the least. Evolves into Machoke. That artwork is kind of insane. It's just a rapid action, literally 40 damage, 1 energy. But it evolves into Machamp, which is for 2 energy, Knocking Hammer, 80. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Honestly, this is like probably the best Machamp we've gotten ever. The fact that it attacks with just 2 energy, the 150 HP. It evolves into something that seems like decent, I guess. Is it good though? Like I don't know. You just kind of weird, right? Like even at its best, it's just mid. Actually no, 2 energy, 80. It's the fact that it's a stage 2. The best part is that the stage 1 gets rid of stadiums. If stadiums aren't even good, then that's not even good. Low key, there's probably a line between interesting and mid, where it's just like it's okay. I guess mid is okay, right? It's obviously the connotation of mid makes it sound like it's bad, but that's what bad is for. I think mid just stands for like it's all right, right? And I think that's where this lands. We got Cubone. Oh wait, I was like into it was the Alolan Marowak that we went over earlier. We got Meditite that evolves into Medicham. I see 2 energy psychic, 50 plus. If this Pokemon has a psychic energy type switch, it does 50 more. So if you're playing dual color, we've seen this before. We thought it was, I mean me, with Poliwrath, I thought it was going to be better than it was. It usually ends up not being so. And with that in mind, we're going to have to put this in probably just bad, honestly, right? Because otherwise it's just a 2 energy. It's low key. The only reason not Fluff is because it does have the upside of swimming for 100. Also, we've seen that the promo, there will be a drop event for Omega Mancham, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be a different deck. This guy's not it though. We got Rock and Roller that evolves into Boldor, which evolves into Gigalith EX, which for 4 energy. Why do they make these fighting Pokemon so heavy on energy? This attack does 140 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon during your next turn. This Pokemon can't attack, but unlike the Cinderace that can bounce away, this one's stuck there. This is so mid, to say the least. Like, man, they keep doing that to like fighting Pokemon. Where's the love for fighting Pokemon? Mega Lucario, you better be good, bro. That's all I'm saying. Jober evolves into, well, we'll see it when we get to Metal. It's got a Excadrill. We got Tyrants is a fossil Pokemon. It evolves into, okay, so it evolves into Tyrant, it evolves into Tyrantrum. I don't know how to pronounce that, but maybe it's between Tyrant and Tantrum, so Tyrantrum. I don't know. I felt like it's still on that one, but whatever. 3 energy Tyrannical Fang, 100 plus. Your opponent has fewer Pokemon in play than your. If you have fewer than your opponent, this does 180. I'm gonna go with. I don't know what ranges 180 hits specifically. It does knock out Megas, right? That's definitely a thing. Not all the Megas, but you add like a Geo or something, and you're knocking out like Altarias even. That could be interesting. That could be really interesting. Then we got Passimian, 90 HP. Fling. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Am I missing something? This is a good card, right? I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. The 2 retreat cost is kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. You like being able to retreat for 1 is kind of cool. Also, people weren't even playing Himoli. Fighting decks are usually playing Him on top if you're gonna play with that. So probably it falls under good and more towards like mid or Fluff. But at the end of the day, these bench attackers are gonna be somewhat relevant, I guess. And then we have Phalanx or Phalanx. Phalanx? I don't know. 70 HP, coordinated unit. If you have another Phalanx in play, this Pokemon does 20 more damage to the active Pokemon and it takes 20 less. It's probably just mid. Actually, I'm gonna go with bad. Like, at best, it's hitting for 40. And it's only 70 HP, but it's taking 20 less. Like, is that enough? Nope. Let's go with bad. Then we have the last fighting Pokemon in the set. We got Cornerstone Mask Overpawn. Again, like all the other non-EX that we've seen, is 40 damage and you flip a coin for additional effect. This one is, if heads, during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 100 damage from attacks. Interesting, but not interesting enough to put it in that. 10 you swing for 40. Let's say you have this as like an Oriole, you're hitting for 60, and then potentially you don't take any damage. This one's probably just bad. Like, at no point is that coin flip like worth putting that in a deck. I think that's my opinion. We'll see how that ages. So far, we haven't seen anything that's like broken, like, oh my god, like, look at this card, at least from my perspective. So let's jump to Darkness. For Darkness, we start with Alolan Meowth, which evolves into Alolan Persian, which is the definition of Fluff. Where you at? Literally just another Rapidash. Then we have Alolan Grimer, which evolves into Alolan Muck, which has the power of Alchemy ability. Basic Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents have no abilities. With no, where's the like Loki, like broken, right? Like, he doesn't even have to even be in the active. Like, if you just evolve into this, your Suicune players don't draw cards. Your Darkrai, well, if you're playing Darkrai, it's kind of rough, but your Darkrai opponent can't charge to hit you. Granted, if it's in the bench, it can, right? It says, oh, in play. So as long as the Muck is in play, the Giratina on the bench can't be using Bellow. Okay, that's broken. That's, whether it's each play or not, like, as a concept, this card is insane. Probably my favorite, not my favorite, the craziest thing I've seen in the set so far. The fact that it's in play, so literally no Suicune draws. What other examples? Obviously, Darkrai campaign with when you charge it. No Bellow from Giratina. Those are the ones that come to mind immediately. There's probably something else that I'm missing. Obviously, Entei and Raikou fall under the same roof as Suicune, but yeah, no, that's just what other like basic ability comes up, but that's a good start. We got Galarian Zigzagoon, which evolves into Galarian Linoon, which is just Obstagoon. Honestly, what makes Obstagoon better than what it is the card that goes with it. But which I saw in the trailer, the supporter that goes with the obstacle. But I guess with the fact that it does, if your opponent's active Pokemon has damage on it, which it should have, given that if you're swinging with the earlier versions, you're swinging for 120. I think the card is like alright, right? It's okay, but a little bit more okay. It's interesting because of the trainer card, right? Okay, let's go into Stunky, which evolves into Skuntank. Smoke screen shot, 3 energy, 70 during your opponent's next turn. If the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent's flip a coin. If tails, that attack. So it's another version of the Magneton. So we're doing that's like low-key is good. Is it gonna be playable? I don't know, because getting 3 energy on this guy's gonna be rough, but I'm gonna go with good. It's a good effect. It's annoying. We've seen it with Magnezone. It does its thing. Spiritomb, Final Scream. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, do 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That has to fall under the interesting. If not, just like it's probably just mid. But I'll put it under interesting because it's interesting. It's something different, right? I appreciate different, and then the fact that it could be annoying. It's probably just mid, honestly. Like the more I think about it, like, am I afraid of this? No, it's probably gonna just knock it out and move on with my life. Purloin, whiny voice. Flip a coin if heads. Look at a random card from your opponent's hand and shuffle it into their deck. Interesting, but the flipping the coin part is kind of rough. And then we got Liepard, Fast and Claws. Flip a coin if heads is just, yes, it has an upside that's larger than Rapidash, but it evens out like an average of 50 damage per turn, which just makes it a Rapidash. Let's go to Fluff. And then we have Scraggy that evolves into Scrafty, which crush the weak 50 plus. If this Pokemon has more energy attached than your opponent's active Pokemon, this attack does 50 more. Where would this land? Because technically for 2 energy is just for 100, but you'll have to get to 2 energy before your opponent's Pokemon has 1 energy, or you have to overcommit, or they have to overcommit to avoid getting hit. I think this falls under the interesting pile as well. Let's go Crafty. Then we have Yveltal. We had Xerneas in the last set. Now we got Yveltal. Which, are they building up towards something? I don't know. I literally have no idea. But 3 energy, discard a random energy from both active Pokemon. 90. It's not bad. Is it Fluff? It's kind of weird, right? Like, it feels like Fluff, to be honest. I'll rate it with what I feel. And then the last Dark Pokemon we have is a non-EX Guzzlord 150. 4 energy break score, flip a coin. If heads, discard all of your opponent's. Discard your. Flip a coin. If heads, discard your opponent's active Pokemon. Do you get the point? I don't think it counts as giving you the point, right? It wouldn't give you the point. 4 energy. Like, the 4 energy part is tough, but you do have Lucius. That's a. This has to be like, this literally forms a line between like and good, like, right? I think it has to land on what? Obviously you can't lose something and will at the same turn, and then if it's tails, actually no, it does no damage otherwise. This is definitely interesting YouTube content deck for sure. That's where that lands. Then that's it for the dark type Pokemon, not for the metal. So metal starts with Galarian Meowth, which just evolves into Galarian Berserker. That makes sense. The ability to dig up once during your turn. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, which would be the Meowth. It has to be the Galarian one, by the way. Put 2 random tool cards from your discard pile into your hand. Okay, so the interesting part about that, which I haven't gone into yet, but we saw in the trailer, a tool that's just for metal types. That basically in the next turn they take minus 50, but the caveat being that at the end of your opponent's turn it gets discarded. So whether it did defense or not, whether they attacked you or they didn't, at the end of their turn after you used it, it's gone. Berserker would be able to essentially grab those. It doesn't even have to evolve into the active. It's just like, it'd be like a support for your, I guess your one trick Mawile deck. Definitely interesting. Would it be good? Like low-key you could grab back, like let's say Skarmory, you put it on Skarmory falls early, then you drop this, grab it right back. Metal decks maybe. It's minimum interesting, but I'll go with it's a good card. Like being able to replenish, like bring up the tools back, bringing it tools back. You could play them more loosely. They Guzma you, bring it back. The worst part is the fact that it is stage 1. Like imagine if it was like a basic, but at some point something has to like hold it back, right? Otherwise it'd be crazy. And it's an out to Oricorio. If it did less than 70, I think that's where I would draw the line. Like, nah, it's not it. It could also out Oricorio. You know what? I'm comfortable with putting it in good. Then we got Mawile to Fluff, but we're not here for this Mawile. We are here for the Mega Mawile, which is basically Mega Miltank EX, but nonetheless 2 energy, heat up crunch 60. Until this Pokemon leaves the active spot, this Pokemon's heat up crunch does 30 more, and it stacks, so it does 60, then 90, then 120, then 150. You see where it's going. Your only issue is that if it gets taken down, you do just lose the game, and the fact that you're trying to just sit there and do as much damage as possible means it's usually your active Pokemon. And then if you happen to like retreat into another one, trying to save the one that's in the active, it doesn't. You start all over with your damage, kind of tough. I want to say good so bad, but I don't feel it is. Maybe with enough things around it, enough support cards around it, it does end up landing in good. But I think, is this just mid? It's crazy how like it might. I guess I'll just put it in interesting, because if it has enough support, I could see it being good, if not even like meta, right? Like it's 170 HP, but you have the ability to, again, like I said, that tool that does it where it takes 50 less. It's truly hard to like for me to justify putting it any higher than interesting, and I'm kind of convincing myself to put it in mid. As much as I want it to be good, yes, it's hitting fairy type with the psychics that are weak to metal for super effectiveness, which might go 50 to 110. Like it answers itself really. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next card, which is Excadrill. Fluff, horrendous. Why do they print these cards? Where is the Excadrill to put you in Fluff? Then we have Feral Seed, which evolves into Feral Thorn. 2 energy pummel, 40 plus. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 60 more. This is bad, I think. Low-key Fluff, but I don't know if there's any card that also does the same thing, so we'll just leave it there. Then we have Galarian Stunfisk, 80 HP, 2 energy, Snapping Trap, 40. During your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot when your opponent's active Pokemon retreats, this attack does 40 damage to the new active Pokemon. It's definitely interesting in theory. In practice, that's gonna be the most mid thing, if not just terrible. Probably just terrible, to be honest. 80 HP, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Like, it's an interesting concept, and I'm sure they'll apply it to a card at some point, and it's like, okay, this is like legit. Then we have Honage, evolves into a Doublade. Double is 40 times 50 coins. Then we have Aegislash. If you pull the gold Aegislash from last sets, well, let's just hope this one's not better, because then you're gonna during your, I don't know what to say honestly, but during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 80 less damage from attacks from your opponent's EXs. So clearly it's the shield version, and so, but for 3 energy, 80 during your opponent's next turn, this takes minus 80 from attacks from your opponent's EX. So it's resilience. It's doing 80 damage. I don't. It's all right, right? It's all right. And that's it for the metals that I'm looking at. For Dragon type Pokemon, we only have one line, which is the Salamence. We have Bagon that attacks, or Bagon that attacks for Colorless. Well, it's a Shogun, so it's Fire Water, so it goes back to like the Dragon line. Rolling, we're gonna start mixing it with Moltres again. I don't know, but Rolling Tagging was 60. Then we have Salamence for 3 energy, Dragon Dive 150. Flip a coin if Tails is also does 50 damage to itself. If Tails is to itself. And they really mistreat these Dragon type Pokemon, man. It's just, I can't justify playing this ever. It looks great though. I love Salamence. Again, Gen 2, Gen 3 are my favorites. For nostalgia reasons probably. But nonetheless, this is just a bad card, I think. I could be wrong, hopefully I'm wrong, but let's go with the colorless types. For colorless types, we have quite a few to go over. We got Meowth with the ability Carefree Steps. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin. If heads, prevent the damage. That could definitely be annoying. And it has Feeling Fine, which is, it's also searchable by Alicia. This is, I want to say, a good card. Like, at least the concept of it, right? Like what it does. We have a Marine basic, but this basic definitely has a different like look to it. Then we have Persian. I'm not gonna talk about that. I guess we'll call the Persian part of this equation Fluff. More of the same. Then we got Kangaskhan, 110, 3 energy, steady punch, 60 plus. Flip a coin if heads. This does 60 more. So many cards guarantee the damage already. Let's go with Fluff to. Actually, it's low key just bad, right? Yeah, I'll go with Fluff just because we have so many Kangaskhan. I'm aware that the EX Mega is here, which is this one. Mega Kangaskhan EX. 3 energy, double punching, family, 80. This attack is used twice in a row. The second attack does 40 damage. If the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, the second attack is used after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. That is what I'm gonna call meta. I'm so excited to play this card. Is it gonna be guaranteed the best card? Well, obviously not, because I don't even have it listed under broken. But the fact that it's a basic, it's colorless, so you could use a Lima. There's so many like things that help colorless Pokemon that I'm excited to see what people cook up, as well as I'm gonna try to cook up some real stuff with this Kangaskhan. We'll see if it lives up to the hype, because I've been hyping up Kangaskhan since I've heard Megas exist. And like, oh, once they release the Kangaskhan, now we're gonna be talking. We'll see what I end up talking or setting or cooking or whatever it is. Then we got Sentret that evolves into Furret. That's Fluff. I hope y'all see this and really ask yourself, why do they give us so many cards like this one specifically? Like, I have such a like. I do not enjoy them. Like, I don't understand why they exist. That's literally what it comes down to. Then we got Smeargle with the ability Portrait. Once during your turn, this Pokemon is in the active spot. You may look at a random supporter card from your opponent's hand. Use the effect of that card as the effect of this ability. What? Or in the world, like, it deserves its own spot. Because, like, can you imagine? There's not 2 card, like, maybe they have like a 5-card grip, or you have like use at your own risk, basically, right? And it has to be in the active. Like, you could hit yourself with a copycat that just completely ruins your hand, or it could help, or you could draw with, like, who knows, bro? Like, but at least it's an ability, so it doesn't waste your turn per se. Like, you still get to do actions after the fact. But what an interesting card, to say the very least. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna put it in the middle there and just let it ride, I guess. I don't know. Then we got Lugia. 4 energy, Aeroblast, 8+, flip 2 coins if this attack does 4 more for each heads. That 4 energy cost is insanity. Yes, there's a whole lot of cards that can ramp this. There's just cards in general, baby Pokemon. The fact that it's colorless, you can put any energy on it. But how about no? On paper, it is just somewhere between okay, I guess, and just Fluff. Like, there's just too many cards that do that, where essentially they swing for. Although this one could swing for essentially 160. It's just the 4 energy is crazy, right? Like, where is this Lugia? I think it's just gonna go with that. Like, I can't justify putting 4 energy on a Pokemon that's 120 HP. Like, does it even live to get to that point? I don't know. Halo evolves into Swellow. Repelling Wind. Once during your turn, you may switch out of your opponent's active basic. Once during your turn, you may switch out your opponent's active basic Pokemon to the bench. So essentially, it's Sabrina. They get to pick out what comes out, but you get to ship it out early, because it's just the ability. You don't need an attack, you don't need to do nothing. It's not part of an attack. You just play Swallow and say, give me something else. Honestly, probably good. It also does not have to be in the active spot itself. I guess it's similar to, this is just like another name, but it's just like a Pidgeot, right? Like the original one. Nonetheless, this probably, I'll put this under good. Then we have your Slackoth. Shout out to Slack Likely. Yawn, you put your points Pokemon. It's basically, it is literally just Sing from Swablu, just not a listed or searchable card. Vigoroth, 2 energy, best punch. That's a rough, but it does evolve into Slacking, which is like the main thing. Like, it doesn't matter what Slackoth and Vigoroth do, as long as Slacking is viable, which is has the ability Snoozing Habit. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, whenever you attach an energy from the energy zone to it, it's not asleep. So it's basically just a bigger version of the Koala. Which for 3 energy, Knuckle Sandwich, 150, discard random energy from this Pokemon. This guy just mid can be. Wow. Yeah. Not much more to say about that. Let's jump to Spinda. 1 energy, Teetering Steps, 40, and this Pokemon is not confused. Now it just confuses itself instead of the one that does at least 30 and then confuses both Pokemon. That's so much better, making this one somewhere between Fluff and just bad. I'll go with Spinda is Fluff, because Farfetch was doing this without any without confusing itself or anybody. So then we got Tornadus, 2 energy, 90 HP, 2 energy, blow through, 40 plus. If a stadium is in place, that does 40 more. I guess with a stadium play, it becomes a generic out to Oricorio. That's minimum interesting, right? For Bunnelby, we have just a basic that evolves into Diggersby, 2 energy, Earthquake, 70 this attack also does does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. Only your own is kind of scuffed. It is though, however, another out to Ori, so I guess it's mid at best. Yeah, let's go with that. Then we have Furfro. This one just, I was like, it's like, oh, I actively missed in my tier list for Crimson Blaze. I completely missed that the Furfro attacks for only 1 energy. I just saw that it had the same, only takes 20, and I assumed it was just the same card. But in this case, we have 3 energy, which automatically makes it worse. I think, at least in my opinion. Obviously, 3 energy is kind of a problem, right? That's too much. Let's go with that. Then we got Tandem Mouse. Let's go with Mouse. 1 energy flock. Put 3 random cards from your deck to your bench. 3 random cards from among them. Wouldn't that be all of them? Does it cheat out Tandem? I guess if it cheats out the big guns, that's just crazy, right? Wait. If it plays as that low-key's, because I remember I saw this in the trader, or I mean, not in the, yeah, in the trader shows up when they spam to all the cards. This is 60 times playable coin for each of the mice you have on the board. You have in play. Yeah, this attack is 60 for each of those. And then you tell me the what? Sounds so crazy. Like, am I tripping? Like, what? If it bypass, like, if it gets past the limitation of, like, you don't have to evolve into, just bring out and fill a bench with 3 of them. For the home stretch, we're gonna go over all the trainers that we have access to. We obviously have the fossils. The jaw fossil goes for the Tyrantrum. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but nothing else, nothing special about the card its own. If I don't think so, like, play this and just making sure. Then we got Lucky Ice Pop. Talk about an item. Heal 20 damage from your opponent's. Oh wait, no. Why did I read opponent? Heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon, so it's like a potion. If you healed any damage this way, flip a coin. If heads, put this Lucky Ice Pop into your hand instead of the Scar Pop. So this is like, you're never playing potion again, clearly. What? So yeah, we're not gonna rate the fossil, but this definitely feels broken. Whether you play it or not, if you like, I don't know if its effect is broken up. It's like outside of the context of like whatever the meta ends up being. Like the fact that you just overpowered potion completely, I think. Like I'm reading this correctly, right? Heal 20 from your active Pokemon. I guess it has to be the active. That's where it gets like a little iffy. So maybe it's just meta itself. Yeah, I'm gonna go down from broken because actually I'm just gonna go good. If potion was relevant, then I would go this higher probably, but we'll keep it under good. Then we have Sail Fossil, just the other fossil. Then we have Protective Poncho. As long as this Pokemon, as long as the Pokemon discards attaches on the bench, prevent all damage to that Pokemon by your opponent's active. So it's basically this is gonna be meta. Is it broken? Probably not, because you play around it. Like if your deck doesn't have any form of like bench. Not broken, meta. It at least it either stops or counters Greninjas, Jirachi's hitting the bench. I guess Heatmore. Like there's a whole lot of cards. Then they introduced quite a few. A water one, another fighting one. Now I lost track of like what, but yeah, the Simian. So like every Pokemon is now they have more access to ways of hitting the bench. This punch is gonna protect you. Then we have the Metal Core Barrier. If this Pokemon's, this is the one I mentioned about Metal type Pokemon. If this card's attached to your Pokemon, this card at the end of your opponent's turn, the Metal Pokemon this is attached to takes minus 50. So it's very good, but it completely loses what it's good at once just as soon as your opponent's turn. But maybe that buying that one turn is good enough. So I'll put it under good, and hopefully it sees play again, because it definitely goes hand in hand with Mawile. So like, is Mawile good just because of it? That's what I have to wait and see, basically. Then we have, for supporters, we have Diantha. Heal 90 damage from one of your Pokemon, from one of your psychic Pokemon specifically. Detach 2 of their energies. If you heal this way, discard 2 psychic energies from the. Okay, yeah. So they need 2 or more psychic energies. It heals them, and then they gotta discard 2 of them. Not as big a fan as I'm gonna tell you. It's good, but I saw people talking about like how this is like crazy. It's gonna put like. It's good. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's as game-breaking or as powerful as people made it out to be or make it sound. Then we got Sightseers. This is one of those that falls in the same. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Put all stage 1s among them to your hand. Yes, there's certain decks that will love this. Yes, there's certain decks that are going to love this, use it, and then it doesn't add anything. That's where it's that I don't feel like putting it meta. Is it good? Is it? Like, I don't know. I think I'm feeling interesting. Yes, that's where I'll put it. Then we have Juggler. You can use this card only if your Pokemon in play have 3 or more different. What does it do? Let me finish this. Mobile energy from each of your bench into the active. I think I have to put it a theme with. I'm like answering for myself, just like naturally thinking like, it's not even like plotted. It's just my own body telling me like, oh, this is where it gets rated. I guess I don't know. Then we got Piers. You can use this card only if you have Galarian Obstacle in play. That's the downside, honestly. But because other than that, discard 2 random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. As Obstacle, I had it under. I think this card is good. If not, what keeps it from the meta decks like Hydreigon that completely punt the energy after using it, so it only gets so much value. I feel like in those matchups, and those are like popular ones. Like low-key just might be like if you were to also I don't rank in order of like this one's better than this. It's just in the order that it's basically alphabetically or numerical based on the set. I feel like if I put it under interesting, it'd be like at the very top of interesting. That's what like borderline jumping into a good card. And then we have the stadiums, 3 stadiums. We saw the second one already in the trailer, but these are new to me. Training area. Attacks used by your stage 1 in play, both yours and your opponents, do 10 extra damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. So we're talking about Altaria is getting stronger, Evolutions get stronger. The fact that it helps both is kind of like the saving grace of like, are we actually gonna play this? But this seems like a good card, if not hard to say like meta, but definitely a good card. Then we have starting planes. Each basic Pokemon in play gets plus 20 HP. Certain decks are going to love this a whole lot more than others, but nonetheless, I think this is going to be. This one might be borderline meta. I don't. It just depends how people go about like deck construction and finding. But like think about it now. Your Mega Absols, your Mega Kangaskhan, those megas that are basics are going to have that much more HP. Your Blacephalon, probably not a good example, but I feel like that could be meta for sure. Then we have the Peculiar Plaza, which the retreat cost of your Psychic Pokemon in play, both you and your opponents, is 2 less. All of them feels the most like, I guess mid is the answer. Could have gone better, could have gone worse. And as I can see here, we are completely done with the tier list. We've gone over all 155 cards. This video did go a lot longer than I expected, but I should have expected once I saw how many cards are in the set. What I do care to hear from y'all is your opinion on the set as a whole. Do you think I'm right? Actually, let me know which ones you think I'm completely off on, or which ones I'm completely right, or where we're in the same thought process. I do think the best card on like by just reading by effect alone has to be that Alolan Mug. Just the fact that its existence, it doesn't need a tool on it like Garbodor did in the TCG. It's not like Hexmania where it only lasts for a little bit. As long as it's in play, every basic in play does no longer just has its ability. That kind of, it's like, to me, it's still insane to think about. I guess Celesteela is an example of a Pokemon that you can't use no more with this Muk on the board. When I was thinking, because I could only think of like the big 3 of like Dartina and Suicune type cards. But yeah, my takeaway from this is I hope the cards in the interesting outperform, and anything that I kind of like thought was mid or less just completely proves me wrong. I don't really see have that potential, but some of them do, and I'm hoping to see that happen. Because again, I'm not a fan of bad cards. I don't like when bad cards are printed. I don't want cards to be bad. I want them to all to be good. I want them. I'm aware that all of them can't be good, but I'm not a fan of how much fluff there's in the set, and that doesn't count these guys that I don't rank. The reason I don't rank them is because they're basics that or stage 1s that evolve into something else, which is what we ended up ranking. But this is in its own right is also fluff in the set, right? Like how many times are we gonna pull X card or what it is? I guess we'll find out with time. If 155 in just one mini set is too much, we saw that technically with deluxe, but it's like it's a different thing, right? Because at the end of the day, every pack there was getting an EX. Every pack in this one's not giving you an EX. So imagine you could open like, I don't know, say like 30 packs and just pull so many Blacephalons and not have any, like getting your places of everything might be tough when the set is so big. Is what I'm trying to get at. Nonetheless, thank y'all for watching. I'm super excited for this set and everything that comes through it. The first deck I'll probably try to put together will be Mega Kangaskhan. I'm hoping it outperforms. But we'll see how it goes. I don't want to start repeating myself too much, so just thank y'all for watching. Please consider subscribing, and above all else, stay pro.